All right. We're live. Huzzah. So let's give people a couple of minutes to come in. There was a YouTube notification, and also I'm going to send to socials. How's
Nice.
everybody doing?
Good. More live in real life and on this channel than some of the characters in this game we're about to talk about, but generally good.
That is true. Or is it?
Find out over the course of the next hour. Or don't.
Or don't? I don't know if I have definitive answers on a lot of this.
Yeah, I mean that'll be one of the interesting gaps. Just for context, as people trickle in and for people who listen to this later, we all played Silent Hill F. Nolan and myself played through a single playthrough. And Nathan has done substantially more than that. So if ever you hear Nolan and I being speculative, and you see Nathan shaking his head, um, yeah, that might indicate something about things that we don't necessarily know. But whether or not there's more clarity as you play this game, more times in the sort of new game plus world, and what else that sort of unlocks from a narrative perspective, I'm at a loss. I'll defer to Nathan.
It's not, it doesn't redo the entire game, but it's quite a good bit. Like, you have to play it more than one time to get a meaningful read on the story, I think.
Is it like is
Meaningful.
it like it explains it, or is it like recontextualization?
uh Recontextualizing shit. Um it obviously like changes the ending of things, but yeah, it gives more context and kind of more perspective on the events.
Okay.
I'm curious, did y'all play it in Japanese?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah,
That
me
was
too.
the recommendation, or that was like the default settings, right?
It
It
was the
was,
default, which was nice. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things I missed, right? Because you're running from monsters, you're scared, you're not reading the subtitles. So like
Really?
I think I also just I played it the second time in English, and I think I did just pick
Hmm.
up on a few, but it was really cool to play it in Chinese the first time.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know if I
typically default
were
to that.
I don't know if I were streaming it if I would have picked Japanese, because then I feel like when I'm streaming, I always want to read everything, so then I'd just be like talking over the Japanese speech. But
Yeah.
but I do think that it is the default for a reason.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Hosts are out.
Cool.
I think we're ready to go whenever. Do you want to all
Okay.
start?
Nolan, do you want to preamble ramble us?
Sure. Okay. So, welcome in everybody. Welcome in Delta. Hello. Up at night
What's
watching the
the
spoiler cast. Welcome in. Yes. So we are Up at Night. We are a game studio in New York City, and we like games as well. So tonight we are talking about a game that we all played, which is pretty unusual. We all have busy schedules and play different games, right? Nathan, uh, hang on. My labels got swapped. You're the wrong names. 1 second. But yeah, so let me type these in so it's right.
what while you clerically do that? Yeah, we typically play different games. I'm probably the worst offender as a parent, just in the sense that I don't often play games. Just I don't have a lot of time. When I do play games, I usually fall back on old, reliable, easy to hop into. It's hard to finish narrative games, as well. Uh, this one in particular, I mean, I'll let you all speak for like why it was something y'all wanted to play, but it just kind of jumped out at me. I saw some trailers. I was never a big Silent Hill person growing up. I was horrified when I played the original one on PS1 at like a sleepover after we rented it at Blockbuster. But something about the aesthetic of not just this game, but just of Silent Hill in general was like kind of resonating with me this fall season. And I was kind of like, time to dive in. Got it, loved it. For a lot of different reasons, which we'll dive into. Disliked it for some reasons as well, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, it just was something I know Nathan and I both wanted to play. I think Nolan was a little bit on the fence because it's scary.
Oh, I did
It
not
is a
want to
scary game.
I'm too
Oh,
scared.
okay.
But again, right? Because Chris never has time to play any games anymore, and Nathan has bad taste, so we don't always play all the same games. But since both of you two played it and we're talking so much about it in our Slack, I was like, okay, I have to muster the courage and play this as early as possible in the bright of the morning light, which I did. So I did a single playthrough. And now we're going to talk about it. So, yeah, just want to call out up top. We're making a bunch of games right now. If you'd like to find out more about that, you can join our Patreon for free, patreon.com/upatnightgames, to get both information about our upcoming games and fun things like this. We just did a recommendation list for games to play on Halloween about a week and a half ago. So check that out. All right, let's start some trailers going. Let's set the mood. Let's talk about Silent Hill F. So maybe a good place to start off is this is the first Silent Hill game, I believe, that is not in Silent Hill or in small town America, right? So it's a completely different setting. Chris, you're a weeb. Do you maybe want to set it up for us? What's going on here?
I don't really like, I mean, thank you for that accolade. And I'm going to probably ask a lot of questions as I sort of rambled into. I didn't play, and I intend to play, but I didn't play any of the other Silent Hill games in my life. So Silent Hill is a real place. It's like an actual hill that exists
It,
in some of the other games.
Small town and
yeah. And it's
middle
based
of
on a real life location.
Oh, I didn't know that. But to set it up for this particular game, this is like my feeling of it, because I think that there's some like loose historical stuff going on here. So you've got 1960s Japan, you've got a couple of things represented in here which don't make a ton of sense to me with regards to like this, like the whole Space Wars thing seems like it's kind of like a nod at like Star Wars, but or Star Trek or whatever, all these media that, not saying there was no like outer space fictional media in the 60s, but those are 70s, 80s kind of things that it feels like they're nodding at. The girl code puzzles, which I loved and we'll get into later, is kind of like leet speak, which is like sort of invented by this group. And I don't know. I asked my wife while I was playing this game, because I was trying to solve one of the puzzles. I was like, is this a real code that girl said? She was like, no, I don't know this. So it feels like there's a couple of like creative liberties with regards to the time frame. I think the stuff that is kind of like interesting about it is just sort of like the aesthetic of like a quiet countryside, the sort of like insular like school community that goes into that, how this is probably the most like the people that exist in this particular narrative are probably like the total extension of the social circle that these people have without the internet, without like really strong transportation mechanisms, that kind of stuff. I was kind of waiting, whenever you get something that is post World War II, rooted in Japanese culture, you think about if there's going to be references or tie-ins or nods to like the aftermath of World War II and what it meant for Japanese culture, Japanese media in general. I didn't feel a ton of that in this game. Maybe I'm missing something, but it wasn't like, oh, this is sort of like fallout from that, or like it didn't seem like there was any sort of line between those things. So yeah, I think it was more just about the sort of like timing and isolation and the sort of like lack of ability to communicate. Like there are telephones in the game, but obviously this is like before cell phones, before like all that sort of stuff. So I think that it creates a little bit of a sense of like isolation in the environment.
Yeah. And I also want to, I think, draw a parallel here with Silent Hill typically taking place in small town America, and in general, right? There's a restoration fantasy with small town America, right? It's like blue collar workers, and it's the real America. So there's this sort of imaginary, right, where this is where like the traditional kind of manly men live. And when we go to 1960s Japan, small town, I think we're getting something that's kind of similar. There's definitely a tension between traditional values and modernity here that we're seeing play out in pretty much every aspect of the game.
It's a really good call out, and the sort of like transition between the different, or like there's sequences where you're in this 1960s true reality, as it sort of feels like, versus like you go into these like nightmare induced flashbacks where you're in a more like Edo, or more not ancient, that's not right, but like more traditional Japanese environment with the arches and the weaponry and fox masks and all this sort of thing. And there's sort of like the references to that like fox and like religious iconography and that stuff in the true world. And then you get implanted into these like actual different things. So yeah, I definitely agree. There's like a tension between that sort of historical context and also like moving forward.
And yeah, I think that it's been really fun to explore this space. It's like very rich, and they put this theming into all of the characters as well, which I think is fun to explore, because it's not just you, right, who's wrapped up in all of this conflict. You got a group of friends as well, and each of them kind of embody a different aspect of this ancient, or this traditional versus modernity. Should we maybe talk about some of the characters and what we're
Yes.
getting into?
And it's a heavily gendered game too, right? It's about what it means to be a man in this like small town community. It's about what it's about to be a girl and a woman in this community, and how you treat others based on their gender and how they want to be treated. I
Yeah,
really connected with the small town, like the almost like not almost like very petty kind of like school kid drama and like passive aggressiveness and like cruelty that it came with it, but also this sympathy and understanding why these kids felt that way. But like that's what really kind of drew me into it when I had a hard time getting started, and when I hit some of that stuff, I was like, oh, this is good.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
so
lot of stuff that is really set in previous gender dynamics, not just in Japan, but in the 1960s, that sort of stuff of like the parents, like prioritizing the kid who's gone off and gotten married in the form of the older sister of the protagonist. The relationship between the sort of male lead, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, and the female protagonist, and how they have this sort of like non-romantic but sort of romantic relationship in the form of being a partner, and that being like sort of the nickname, but it's like, oh, it's your school buddy and that sort of thing. The sort of like inability for men and women to be friends as sort of a consequence of that, and the tension it creates with some of the other friends in the circle, like Rinko. So yeah, there's definitely a lot that they've done with like sort of that particular moment in time relative to gender dynamics.
right, so you play as Shimuzi Hinako, who is a 15, 16-year-old girl, um, high school
Yeah,
student, and
ambiguous.
yeah, a little ambiguous, um, but wearing a high school uniform, it would
Definitely
seem.
that. Yeah.
And so she's not like other girls. It says very early on she was in track and field, so that's why she's so good at swinging a pipe around. But she,
I didn't make that connection. That's the
yeah,
justification for it.
that's the justification.
Eh,
But
Honestly,
yeah,
it's not the.
yeah, I'm not mad at it. But yeah, she grows up in an abusive family. Her father's very abusive, and the game starts with uh, a scene of abuse, and she runs out, and kind of that's how you enter into this mysterious world and what's going on, where monsters start attacking when you're meeting up with your friends. Because you're just trying to go hang out with your three school friends who are Shu, as mentioned, the guy you play Space Wars together, a little imaginary protecting the town from aliens.
Your partner.
Uh, yeah, your partner. Well, he calls you,
Imdo, I think. Yeah.
huh?
I think I can't. I maybe I'm whiffing on it, but in Japanese, imdo or something like that. But yeah, partner is the
Oh,
translation.
yes. So he's he treats you as a capable character. You have Sakuko, who is
Mhm.
also Shu, notably is the child of the local chemists of the traditional medicine
Oh,
people.
is he? Okay. I mean,
Yes.
I definitely got the medicine part, but I didn't get that was. Is that the doctor who had the box? That wasn't his house, was it?
No, that's a different doctor. There's also a modern doctor who's upset at the traditional.
That's
Well,
it.
you
Yeah.
find out in
I
notes.
saw that. I saw that tension. There's some fun level design with that.
Yeah,
Also, it's
right.
Aibo, not Imdo. Sorry, whiffed it.
Aibo, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then yeah, you have Sakuko, who is the daughter of the local shrine priests,
Mhm.
and she decides that she wants to be the head priestess, even though her parents have kind of like given up because nobody really goes to the shrine anymore.
Mhm.
Uh, right, there's more of that modernity. And then you also have Rinko, who is the perfect girl class president, uh, and in love with Shu.
Mhm.
So this is, our cast of characters who you meet for 2 seconds and then they get kind of whisked away and you learn more about them throughout. But yeah, you're meeting up with them and then monsters attack and blah.
And Sakuko Snap dies, right?
She does,
In
yeah.
that interaction. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
She gets it. There's like red kudzu, I think, like all these like plant
Oh
like
man.
material.
Oh, I've never thought
That
about
like
that as kudzu.
yeah, I think it's
But that makes
supposed to
sense.
be.
It's
Yeah.
recurring. It's a recurring theme, right? You have like the kudzu tea. You have the
Hmm.
Mm.
poems
Ah,
about the
yeah.
kudzu.
And in the
Um.
puzzles as well, right?
Kudzu is very much like it takes over everything, right? Like
Your
that's
your
that's how it goes.
quintessential invasive species.
Right.
And it like is sort of the herald that creatures are coming. Some creatures create it as well. So you're, running through town and oh no, everything's bad, and you have to go and hit stuff with pipes, and solve
Yeah.
puzzles.
As one does in a Silent Hill game.
As one
Yeah.
does. It like
The pipe is
immediately
a recurring character.
the pipe is a recurring character. It's true. It made the jump to Japan.
It's canon.
It's canon. But it yeah, and the fog, of course, is the other main character, which I think is used very effectively in this game because
From
people
oh god.
Is it
well,
true? Like the fog was originally a function of just the PS1's draw, like the draw distance they could get. That's why they put the fog in there, and like 30 years
that's
later, it's
yeah,
so
that's what
core
they
to the
say.
experience. Yeah.
Hmm. And I think that they use it really well here because it especially allows them to like have characters walk in and then walk out of a scene with you, and it's very uncanny, and you don't know who's actually there, or if you're seeing things, or if you're actually there, or what's going on. So
Mm.
Mhm.
you're wandering through the town that you grew up in, and it seems unfamiliar to you.
Yeah. Kind of on that note, I think one of the things that is really fantastic about how they've laid around it, you wouldn't have known this like environment as something like familiar or, right? Because your first moment of this is you're leaving the abusive situation at your house. You're walking out, it's kind of dreary. You see like a dead bird or something on the ground, and that kind of starts the unsettling vibes. But it's already kind of like mid fog, like a little bit weird. Like you're playing a Silent Hill game, something's coming, but it's not even like here's the cheerful prologue. It's like you're pretty much right in it. But even still, I think the game does a really good job, both in terms of like how it uses fog and how it uses some like different sort of representations of things happening of like liminal space. Some examples that I can think of off the top of my head, before we get too far away from characters, are like when you're walking through the fields and ultimately getting to the scarecrow puzzle, like you end up in like a totally different version of the fields that you've kind of have been like plotting out in your map. That all of a sudden is like unknown area, and like obviously has some of the same iconography that you've been seeing, but not the same like geography. And then the same thing happens, like you leave your house initially and you see like a cutscene there. When you get back to your house, you're in a totally liminal version of it that's like so much bigger than the house possibly could be. There's multiple floors with like different permutations of the same things in some cases. It's just sort of is like impossible architecture, that creates increases this feeling of like discomfort within a community that, like, kind of as I was getting to in the preamble about the setting, like should be very familiar to these characters because I imagine it's like all they've ever known, or basically all they've ever known. But in this case, it's like a total like flipped up on the top of its head, of what they're used to.
Yep, that's the Silent Hill of it all. And so yeah, you're kind of strung along uh through a bunch of, I think, meaningless quests that are basically like, go here, let's go to this person's house, let's go to that person's house, and it doesn't really, there's no overarching goal, I would say.
Hmm.
But
Ain't no point to the game.
oh, but I think that it is interesting, sort of looking at this, because there's a second part to this, but looking at this in parallel to the other world, which Hinako frequently wakes up in, where she's just
Mm.
kind of like strung along, and you are not a very active character throughout this game. You are like, you're killing things and and being active in that way, but
You're being led from
you're being
point
led.
A to
Yeah.
following your running. I mean, I see that as her like almost metaphorically or literally like retracing her childhood through this town that she's grown up in, right? All, like these different places. She goes back to where her and Shu were playing. She goes back. Obviously, the school is a lot of that.
The school is fascinating to me, because at the top of this we said we think this is a high school kid, and her and again, I get everything is the Silent Hill of it all, and I've just gone on a rant about liminal space. But there's a moment where they're headed off on some ambiguous quest to go to Shu's house, I think. And on the way there, they have to go through the mountainside. They go to their old middle school, and the middle
Mhm.
school appears to be in this like untouched state from when she was in middle school. Like everyone's locker, I think, are like her classmates. There's the like box on Rinko's desk, which like shows her professing her love for Shu after you unlock it. Like it's like kind of like this like frozen in time moment, which I get that there's a lot of surrealness to this game, but that was something that caught me off guard because I was like, wait, isn't this a high school student? It's a little bit weird that this would be in this sort of like frozen in the moment state.
I don't think they ever said their ages. I think they could. It's possible that they could have still been in middle school, and it's also possible that they could be much older.
Yeah, that's true. I believe she says at some point, I haven't been back here since graduation, which made me assume that they were in high school.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
is,
I
it
they
is,
say that.
yeah, it's playing with
Mm,
time for sure.
mm.
So it's,
Wait,
you know,
before we get too far ahead, there's a moment where you first meet uh Sakuko, and she just starts calling you traitor. Did you guys? I'm
Hmm.
unclear what pieces of the story are tied to your choices or your difficulty or your playthrough or some combination of all of it. Did y'all? There's another one that happens in the school, but the traitor part. Do y'all? Did you get that right away?
I don't remember that.
I was called a traitor, but I didn't, and I still don't think I have a real good answer as to why. Um, so yeah, maybe that's something you want to say out loud, or maybe it's something you don't.
No,
But
no.
it felt ambiguous to me.
I still don't know. I still don't necessarily know why. The second part was when was Rinko in the school kept saying like she's already dead. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
And
I
that
don't know
I
what that
was
is.
so confused about.
And they also
Well,
they mentioned like kids dying in the waterways of the rice fields, and I was wondering if that was supposed to be connected to Hinako supposedly being dead. I don't know. It's
the connection that I got there, I actually replayed this last night, and I think I have an explanation for this.
Okay.
So you go through the scarecrow piece, and when you're pulling these things out of the scarecrows, there's like a little like cutout from the news clippings of like kid died in rice field thing. And when you get to the last one, it says that the name is Hinako. Um, but there's sort of this implication behind it, like the last bit of text as you read this is like it looks like someone has written this name over the name that was actually in the news report. And that's
hmm
kind of you guys wanted to reference some like burn book stuff, and you
Yeah.
immediately after that plot wise go into the house and Rinko like pushes you down the stairs or doesn't, whatever. And there's all of a sudden that tension around this. So that to me felt more like the like jealousy of like these kids kind of like playing not harmless pranks on each other, but sort of like, you know, representing their feelings in these sort of like
Yeah.
lashing out kind of ways. So I didn't, my read wasn't that Hinako died in the rice field is what my take was from that. That said, I do think that there's some other evidence that she has maybe died in some different way. Like
Yeah.
specifically the pills way is what is my read on that. I don't know if we want to go there yet, but that's I just wanted to call that out for the drowning piece.
I think let's
I don't
circle
know
back
how
to
long.
that.
Okay, so okay, we
But
can
yeah.
leave the main theme out of maybe push back the main theme a little bit too. But I mean, the reason it stuck with me is because it first kind of begged the question of is this real or not?
Mm.
Even it like Rinko is clearly fantasizing about about killing her friend. Like she's written in all these unsealed letters, like her fantasies about killing her. But the fact that she would just say that to Shu, and Shu would respond kind of just like Shh, don't say that, was kind of really asking like what is real.
Yeah, and the other part of it that made me think that Hinako might be dead was uh and actually just on a trailer that popped up here it said Hinako's dead, okay? But um the other part is that when you're going through the other world, it seems like it is the land of the dead, and like people mention like, oh, this is maybe where the dead pass through. And so my read throughout the game until the end was basically like, oh, are you in purgatory? Are you in hell? Are you, you know, on your way there? Are you going through some gates to the afterworld? But
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if that reading holds up on a second playthrough. But maybe let's talk about the other world.
Yeah.
So periodically you pass out
Mhm.
from various
Or Rinko pushes
means,
you down the stairs like
or a
this
girl pushes you down
Yeah.
the
amazing little
stairs.
haunted girl she was.
Or you just take a nap
Or you just
as
take
you
a
do
nap.
in the school.
It's true.
Yeah.
Um, and you wake up in as Chris mentioned, this like very traditional ancient Japan seeming area with gates and shrines and rituals that you're walking through, and you meet Fox Mask, who's this
Mhm.
guy who you immediately fall in love with based on the journal entry about him. She's like, he's so cool and mysterious, and I feel like I don't know him, but he must be from a noble family or something. And it's like, okay, well, sure. But yeah, if you thought you were passive in the real world, you were even more passive and like unnervingly passive in the other world, as
Mhm.
he like sometimes literally holds your hand and drags you through this space. Um,
Mhm.
Not necessarily against your will, but it does seem like she is not, a free agent here.
Or
It
is
it feels
choosing to submit at
Yes.
yeah.
the very.
It feels like under the influence, and I mean this gets back to we'll come back to it with the sort of main theming, but it feels like she is not in control. Um, And it's interesting too because we didn't touch on this yet, but there's this repeated iconography of this like doll, which is the first thing that you interact with in the entire game, where like it's a scene where before the abusive scene where you get kicked out of the house, like you're like talking to your doll about your friends, and there's a couple of different instances, including very early on when you meet the Fox Mask guy, where the camera will cut to the doll and there's like some carvings, and it's like don't trust the Fox Man, don't trust Rinko, like all that. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because I mean, as like a player of this game, you take that information and you think to yourself, like, I'm gonna have to make a decision that corresponds to me either choosing trust or not. I don't think in the first playthrough, I don't know how much in later playthroughs you're like able to sort of act on the agency of taking that advice, but it's also like the doll is an unreliable advice giver too, right? It almost feels like this representation of like like Hinako's like multi-personality disorder or something, or like just the manifestation of like her anxiety
Yeah.
in terms of like how she falls into these different social circles and the way the other people in her life are treating her in these social circles. So there's a lot of like should I be trust you ask yourself, should I trust what I see with my eyes, like is this real, is this really happening, or is this like a nightmare, a fabrication, purgatory. There's also unreliable connections with the characters around you.
Mhm. And she does mention the doll in her journal and kind of
Does she?
what it means to her. Yeah, she says that um it was hers when she was younger, and everyone like it was given to her to make her more of a girly girl,
Right.
and she cast it aside because she didn't want to be a girly girl. So it like has come to represent that like those traditional gender roles for her.
The feminine
hmm And then
interest.
I
Interest.
think that's also the same journal entry where she mentions that there are two Hinakos.
Hmm.
There's Shimuzi Hinako, the real world person, right? That's who she is, the more tomboy uh protagonist of this game in the real world. And then there is Hinako, who she describes as an alien invading her body. And she's more of the feminine uh Hinako, or traditional, the expectations put on her of femininity. And I think that that is who you are playing as in the other world.
That's right.
So,
I like that. I like that read, and it makes a lot of sense. And I again haven't finished subsequent playthroughs, but I did hear that one of the endings, and Nolan, cover your ears if you don't want to hear this, is like the fox wedding.
Mhm.
So Nathan, I'll let you speak to that, but just my read from the first playthrough and what I know about it, it's like it almost seems like there is kind of, as we alluded to already, like this weird romantic connection fostering there, whether willing or not, that is kind of in line with the pressure that her parents seem to be putting on her to like go and like be a good wife, like her sister, who went and got married. So it feels like there is some degree of. I think you're right. Is what I'm trying to say, Nolan.
Okay, and then yeah, Fox Mask. I don't want to call it a theory necessarily. I feel like the game has set up a theory about who he is. Again, I only played the first ending, so it might get more complicated after that. But after that point, I feel like it's either going to confirm it or subvert it. Where uh, there's two things. Number one, there's all these notes from a strict mother, quote unquote, to her handsome
Yeah.
boy, and they're all like,
Mhm.
"You are, the heir to a family, but we're disgraced, so don't worry about it. But you still need to like your father's noble blood runs through you, and you need to be the best at everything." And then culminating in him uh, becoming the heir to that family because everyone else dies of a horrible curse.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm assuming it's him. And then the other piece of evidence is when you walk into the park or the playground, you get like a
Mm.
memory of you as a kid where Hinako helps this little boy who has
Mhm.
been bitten by a fox, I believe. It's kind of set up earlier that like the foxes are becoming more bold and might have rabies and diseases and things. And so she helps the boy in some way. I don't know, but she really uh, befriends a fox that is like attacking people and everyone else. I think inevitably kills, but that's how they met. And then he moves away
Mhm.
at some point as well. So I'm assuming that is Fox Mask is him returning to town where he, grew up, now wealthy, and Hinako's parents are trying to marry her off to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all a fair read, and yeah, the other part that where it kind of clicked for me that this is interesting what it's doing was when at the point where you do realize that this is largely a metaphor about marriage and like changing families and the idea of changing yourself and killing off your old relationships, and it's like hopefully like a perverse view or perverse outcome of a marriage, not the ideal one, but that is really like the core of it underneath, right? Of like her leaving her family, of her leaving her friends, betraying them, feeling guilt, and her sister, who I don't think we've talked about yet, Junko yet,
Just a little bit,
right?
yeah.
Who also plays that same role where like she is the bride. She's married. She's left, or is leaving home. What was you also read on her? She's not in it as much as I wanted her to be. Like with
Right.
her owl mask face, I really wanted more of
That
her.
that mask is fucking terrifying. Just
It
to
is.
to name it too. That is a horrifying mask that she wears. My read, in addition to what I've already said about like, despite that leaving of yourself behind, it's interesting that the parents are like, well, that's what you're supposed to do, right? As like the good daughter. And then she does kind of represent this like coming over to the other side component of it. Like if you think about her as like in concert with Fosmas and what Hinako goes through, and we'll get to the rituals of like, really casting herself behind the person she was and heading towards like what is traditionally expected of her. Um, it's interesting too because like she's represented, or at least this is my read of it. Like she's the fog monster to some extent, right? Like I feel like there's,
Mm.
or maybe partially like it's like a wedding gown, which I think is kind of like similar to her. I guess she's talking to you while the fog monster is like interacting with you, so maybe it's not a one-to-one. But I felt it as this sort of like very combined energy. And maybe it's just that she has conformed to the societal expectation, and the fog monster is the like metaphor for the societal expectation. But I felt like there was that tight linking there.
Yeah, and I think the other aspect that's really important here is that Hinako hates Junko for leaving because she used to act as the peacemaker in the family between the abusive dad and the mom who didn't stop it, and Hinako who, never fit in and bore the brunt of a lot of her father's abuse. So when Junko left, it removed that like buffer for her, and so she, whether or not Junko really changed or not, it is true that Hinako's situation materially changed by her getting married and leaving. So I think that
Right.
whether or not it's actually Junko, it's like it could be just her projection of her feelings about Junko.
And yeah, to take that further, some of the things that you read in Rinko and Sakuko's notes are like totally outlandish. Like maybe they wrote that, but it could also just be uh Hinako taking her kind of resentment of Junko and projecting that onto them, like, oh, they must hate me because I'm going to leave. They must hate me because of X, Y, and Z.
Hmm. Yeah, we get notes written by Hinako finds notes written by her friends in the other world, and it'll like start off with like a normal note, and then it'll be kind of like their underlying feelings afterwards, and it'll be like everyone hates me, and I can't believe that Hinako said she would do that, and blah blah blah. So I don't know if we're supposed to read those as factually true or as what Hinako thinks her friends think about her.
Right, exactly. Side note, I really love the idea of this, like you writing down your burdens or something you are ashamed of on like a paper crane, right? And leaving it, and that if you ever find one of those, you're supposed to read it and kind of take that burden on, but never share it with anybody else. But the idea of these school kids using them passive aggressively to be like, I feel so bad that I hate this person so much that they suck, and then like putting it right like on their desk so they find it and have to read it.
That is very funny.
It's the contrast to like of the like modernity to traditional, right? Like I feel like that writing of burdens is like very much like a shrine, like you put them on, you cast them off, like that sort of thing. But then as kids to be like, well, this is something we know about from our culture, but also like we have this drama that's playing out, and we're
Right.
using the sort of traditional mechanism as a vehicle for the drama.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked a lot about the story. Should we talk a little bit more about the gameplay mechanics?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. I want to start off with the combat because
Do it.
I, in reading reviews for this, it seemed like the combat was going to be terrible, but I quite liked it. I thought it was pretty
Oh,
Interesting.
good and intentional.
What?
Uh,
I have so many questions.
okay, cool. Ask me your questions.
Did you ever parry intentionally?
Uh, Parrying. Which one is parrying? I
What
countered
are they? What are they?
intentionally,
Is it counter? Yeah.
counter.
like where
It's when they do the
they
like weird
flash.
like red outline thing,
Yeah.
and then it makes the sound effect. Do it.
Oh yeah, all the time. Because when you do it
Same.
correctly, you'll like fly towards them. It's really great.
Oh yeah. I know because I found a power up that does it automatically for me, and that's the only one I use the entire game.
I am
I
so
did it.
jealous of that power up.
I did it intentionally, but only with certain monsters. Because certain attacks are not parryable, and they mentioned
Right.
this in the tutorial. So there were ones where I just got used to their like attack pattern, and I would do it every time. And there are ones where I was just like, well, I don't know if you're ever gonna fucking do this, so I'm gonna just like focus attack and range hit you. But anyway, you had more questions. Keep going.
Best weapon, Nolan.
Ooh, axe Probably.
Yeah, fuck yeah, the axe is so good. When you do the heavy with the axe, it's
The heavy
like
with the
yeah.
axe, and then follow it up with like it does like poise break on most things, and then you follow it up with a couple of quick slashes, and like they're just gone. It's so good.
Kitchen knife for me.
Ooh, kitchen knife.
Interesting.
Low
I do,
durability, but incredibly high damage.
I
right,
liked
yeah.
the maximum durability knife you got in the other world,
Yeah, I like that
which
too.
is pretty much the
Man,
same.
I mean, of course there's a reason we never used it, but yeah, I once I got the pole blade, I didn't use the small knife again, and then once I had my good arm, obviously, no more.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. One of level set too. We all played story combat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the end I was out
Which
on story everything.
yeah, which does it does make it pretty. I won't say like easy because I still died. You still have to read your enemy attack patterns. They still do a lot of damage. There still is like a pretty good balance of, I think, both health items and also like durability exhaustion. Like there were a couple areas where I was like running around. I was like, I can't fight anything anymore. I have to be really thoughtful about what's in my way and not.
Yeah.
You do lose out on some of the like more like the sanity mechanic, I think is the main thing, which sanity enables you to focus and enables you to counter, I think.
Yeah,
In the
it's
like
still in
harder modes.
story. You just don't
What
get
is
punished for using it in story.
what does
I see.
In
focus what does it do? It makes it
it's
easier to counter?
no, so well, that is one part of it. If you hold down focus, there's two things that happen. One is yes, you have a longer counter uh window. Um like the flash stays on the screen for longer. And number two is it creates its own little meter, and if the meter gets to max, then you can use a light attack to do basically a big poise attack. So it's like
It's like a stun. Yeah.
yeah.
I did not
But if you
engage
get
with that system
hit
at all.
while you are focusing, then it lowers your max sanity for the rest of the game.
For the whole game, but you
For
can
the whole game in hard.
you
There's ways
can
And
to
hard.
increase it again. Yeah. In hard and harder difficulties. Right there there's
oh,
story and then the next one up is hard. So
right.
and then Lost in the Fog I think is above that. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
which is the mega hard new game plus only
yeah,
option.
infinite climax. But it's
I think I played the first couple hours on hard before turning it down, and that may be why I weirdly like didn't engage with that system and just kind of brushed it aside. Was it fun? Like was that system rewarding?
no.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I would call it fun. It felt, and I'll say that I like a lot of things about. I like this gets into level design a little bit. I like the placement of enemies in levels. Like I thought that was really good and thoughtful. Both in the sense that like, there's a lot of good jump scare setups. There's a lot of good like, oh, I'm in a long corridor. I see someone at the end of it. They go down the like into an invisible area, like down a door or whatever. I get up there and they're not there anymore. There's a lot of like, I go into a room, there's an enemy dead on the ground. I leave that room, I interact with some other systems, I go back to the room, the enemy's gone and there's somewhere else in the house. Like I thought all of that stuff was really cool and thoughtful. The actual like fighting and interacting with enemies was pretty boring for me by the end. And I don't know if I had played it on a harder difficulty, I've been like, wow, this is like pretty engaging or like a fun mechanic or like trying to parry. I think where my frustration was with the combat is like there's only like 6 enemies or something in this game, it feels like, and several of
We'll
them are
get
like
to them.
reskins. Yeah, we'll get to them. Big teaser. And several of them are like reskins. Like some of the bosses are reskins. Like there are a couple of like you fight a big enemy bosses and then they become common enemies. There's one of those such enemies which I didn't even realize was different in the mother father boss fight. Like I thought that it was just one of the big guys from earlier because the skinning is so similar. It might even be, I'm not sure. But I think that it was a little bit like repetitive. For people who have played this, I've talked to people who've like played this on hard. Um, they've mentioned like yeah, I beat it. It wasn't, maybe I didn't get the gist of it, or like it wasn't like completing the game on a hard difficulty wasn't like super rewarding. And I think
Mhm.
partially that is because of the repetition, because maybe the systems don't exactly like sing together. So I think more like the implication and placement and core that these sort of designs of these enemies have is like quite good, but the actual like decoding how you're supposed to fight them is less good.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention one more thing that sanity does, which it is
Hmm.
Okay.
a buffer for sanity damage. So if you take sanity damage and you have no sanity, then you take physical damage.
How do
So
you
like
take
all of these,
sanity? Those fucking screams.
yeah, the screams,
Oh my
That's right.
god,
the
those feel so
Sakuko
bad.
priestess boss, like when she smashes bells, sometimes you're just in a red area and you're constantly
Yeah.
taking sanity damage. Um,
Hmm.
so it's like it's a weird combination of things put onto sanity to the point that I just kind of was like, I feel like I just want this at max all the time.
Hmm.
I literally did not notice any of that stuff
I
the
didn't
entire
I
game.
didn't think
I didn't,
about it once.
I
Yeah.
didn't think about
Fair enough.
sanity once. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
But
wanted to
I
go for when you hear a sanity meter, I'm like, cool, let's see some hallucinations. Like what
Yeah, that's how I felt about it too.
right.
why invite that if you're not going to go down that route?
But yeah, to your point, I think that I do agree it is repetitive, but I also really liked how kind of deep and technical it was. I was expecting it to just be like a hack and slash, which other Silent Hill games are basically. They're like not rewarding, but this one actually has some technique with like light and heavy attacks and openings for counters, and there is this whole sanity thing, which I assume maybe if you get really into it, then you can. And some of your omamoris will also affect, the rate at which you get sanity or what sanity can do, and so it's like I think that there is a complex system here that is really interesting, and I like diving into it and learning about it, even if the actual like fights themselves were maybe not as inventive as they could be, but a lot of them I thought were fun. So
I do
I
think
don't
it
know.
benefits
Which
from. I mean, it is just like at the very base mechanics. It is like a very people were saying this game was a Souls like beforehand, right? And it does have a
hmm,
feel to some of
Mm,
that content, some of that combat. The long, heavy wind ups, the like getting stuck in animations, getting knocked out of animations. I think that worked pretty well. I don't. It felt like it pushed it further than it needed to in terms of like sucking up souls and like I'm not sure why it was kind of inviting that comparison when it wasn't really trying to do that in any
hmm
meaningful way.
Also, if you use a sanity focus attack as it'll automatically suck up the soul, which like okay, sure, I guess.
I also I found it really I did not get it, and I'm not even sure there is an internal logic to it. The bad guys that come back and the ones that don't. One, I hated it from the beginning. It just like
same.
that,
Yeah.
I
Hmm
want to be able to clear out game in a horror game like this and then add it on later. And they kind of did the opposite, right? Where they started you off with them and then took it away, because you can prevent them from coming back.
Yeah.
But the first one of those that you meet is in Fogtown in the real world, and then it becomes a rule that all of the bad guys in the Dark Shrine
Yeah.
do
Otherworld.
that, and
They
none
do
of
come
the
back early
in
too.
in the other world they do,
Hmm
but then they don't after that in the real world. It's only I think only the first boss, and then when you come back as kind of
Yeah.
dark, what's your face?
Hmm.
So I would just that logic threw me off. It made a little bit more sense on a second playthrough, but I really hated that.
Well then, yeah, and
I
also
agree.
they said it was like if they're in a blue light, then and you kill them, then
Yeah,
they
well,
won't come back. But also there were like you could tell when they were in the type of blue light that would actually kill them, but there was also blue lights around that didn't put them in that state. So it was like, well,
oh,
okay.
It
Why?
felt a little game designy, yeah, in the dark world, your weapons don't have durability, so it makes more sense to have enemies that
Mm,
repeatedly come back because you can't like soft block yourself on the basis of no weaponry. But I like it a little bit too from just like a like emotional perspective of running around these worlds of like, okay, I just passed through this guy, I just killed him. I don't know if I'm like going to a dead end or somewhere where I'm going to find a clue and then I'm going to have to backtrack and then I have to think about this again. Like there is some degree of like horror there, and this gets a little bit more into the level design of just like I think one of the things this game does beautifully is like taking areas that previously felt dangerous or previously felt safe and then flipping it. Like a really good example is the first house that you go through when you're in real world, and there's like two keys that you can find in the house and two locked doors, and when you first go into it you have no weapon on your first playthrough, so you're like still in this very like you know innocent, easy to attack, like dodging monsters, running away from problems. Like the horror has started, but you don't have a way to combat it. Um, and then you can explore this entire house. And I think it's not until you find the key in the bloody mask, then an enemy spawns in the house. And it's like, okay, does this key go to locked door A or locked door B? Like that sort of thing. So I really like that. I really like clearing out an area and then you wondering if it's safe or returning to unsafe. Like the oscillation between that, I mean, it's just a great hallmark. I think I don't play a lot of horror games. I imagine a lot of them do this where it's like they want you to be in this like constant state of flight or fright and making you question whether or not you're safe or feel safe and then take that away from you is a really, strong mechanism to incite that.
yeah. And that reminded me, another part of the combat system that I loved was that if you dodge perfectly, then you refill your stamina. Oh, that was such a good idea.
it was really good. The like Superman dodge is pretty stupid, but it felt really good. Where you're like, oh, I can get a good hit in right now because I, on purpose or accidentally, dodged at the right
Mhm.
time.
Mm-hmm. No, it was good.
You
But
dodge
yeah,
a million miles.
truly. Yeah, it's and I think yeah, you're right in that they especially layer that in with the monsters that come back where you are buying yourself your own, safety period. Where it's like, okay, I have like a little bit of time to go and try and solve this puzzle before it's going to come back, and I know it's going to come back. So, what can I go do?
I had a really bad time with the first big boss who does come back in real world, and you have to wind the
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
the
yeah.
design of that's so good.
well, on hard you had to do it way longer.
Mm,
Mhm.
Uh, I think an extra enemy comes and attacks you, so that's the reason that I turned it down to story difficulty
Yeah. To say it
because you
out
affect.
loud, that puzzle is like, sorry, to say it out loud, that puzzle is like you're trying to get this key, it's on top of a well, you knock it in a well. It's effectively the first boss fight. You can try to pull it up while he's attacking you. Which if you try to do it, I bet you could get done with one rotation, but it takes three rotations to actually get it back up. So what you're supposed to do is kill the enemy, bring it up, and then if you stall at all because you feel safe in that moment, the enemy will come back without you having done the three rotations because he basically reses and what the time it takes to get the key out of the well.
If you
I
start
thought it
do
was
your
awesome. Great design.
for items first, which you usually
mhm,
do, make sure you're not leaving items behind. Yeah,
Yep.
you got.
yeah. So maybe we should talk about the puzzles then.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Nathan, do you have puzzles?
I have my least favorite, which are basically the ones where you read a story and you interpret it in such a way. I think on story mode they actually bold the keywords for you to see. On hard mode they do not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I play on the first. I played Puzzle Hard, which I thought story just meant that it was going to have hints, not that they were going to be completely different and worse puzzles. And it's like, I don't want hints. I'll play it on hard. But
Yeah.
yeah, is this like semantic correlation genre of puzzle, I guess, where it's like the bird was on top of the fox and he was holding a sword, and then you have to like move puzzles around or find something in the environment that looks like these things. I basically hated all of those. I found what I think are multiple valid solutions that were not actually valid. I don't think they were tight enough. I don't think they were well designed enough, and had like the puzzles themselves were good, but like the clues and or the pieces on the board that you were looking at were too ambiguous to work in that way.
Pretty satisfying. I also played Puzzles hard, and I've played a few. My second playthrough is Puzzles Story, partially because I wanted to know what the Scarecrow puzzle was like in story mode, and partially because I just wanted I just wanted to see how it was designed.
Yeah.
My overall sense was like I generally felt like I would come to a solution and it was correct. Like I felt pretty satisfied and smart in doing these. This is my first exposure to like Silent Hill style puzzles, and I don't know how representative these are of the rest of the series. But I would come into it and I would think like, and there's also something quite interesting too about being forced to use your brain to decipher something when your body is in a state of like fear.
Mm.
There are lots of different situations where these puzzles are like for the most part, I think they're out external to like something is actively chasing you. Like you're not trying to solve something on the fly. There are a couple
There are a
exceptions,
couple
like
which I quite like
Hmm.
those.
which
Yeah.
is such a great feeling, right? Where it's like you're trying to do something in the moment and something's coming towards you or something's rushing you and like so I like that there's a little bit of ambiguity in that because it just sort of heightens the tension. It heightens the mystery for me. So yeah, generally speaking, I liked it. There was only really one where I was like, I need to look this up. This is fucking bullshit. And I think we talked about that one. It's the box puzzle on on Rinko's desk, which it
So
has
bad.
some pretty abstract, or not even
I
abstract. I'm sure they're correct, but some pretty hard to decipher symbols.
I think that truly it's a game that the hard mode is for puzzles are meant to be played after the hard mode, the story mode. Like the the box on story totally makes sense. It gives you feedback. It's just like one item. It totally makes sense. And had you played that first, I think the hard mode box is totally fine. Right. But it doesn't it needed to communicate this stuff up front.
Hmm. Well, one thing I'll say is that it is totally on brand for Silent Hill puzzles to be bullshit, and also to be like big, long word, like paragraphs of stuff that you're supposed to like pick, specific things out of. Where it'll be like, okay, you have these coins that have different, faces on them or whatever, and you'll read a story, and it'll be like, in the morning, the man with the beard went this side, and then blah blah, and you have to like put them into the right order, and it's uh annoying, but whatever. You'll get it. There's also or it'll be like, Henry, Mildred, and Sally went to different places, and like Henry went west, and you're supposed to figure out that that meant, put a clock hour hand at 9 or something like that, right? They're really bizarre things like that. And so in some ways that's part of it. And especially with the hard mode puzzles, the most infamous one uh, is in Silent Hill 3, where I think the
Mm.
first puzzle in the game is a Shakespeare puzzle, where you need like a working knowledge of 5 Shakespeare plays to be able to solve it, to like
Great.
arrange books in the proper order in a bookshop. Like they really get hard. And so that's why I was like, I don't really need to do all this for this game. I'm fine with going story mode puzzles. And I think that they were a lot more clear. We talked about a couple of the puzzles in it, but I think my favorite puzzle in the game is the Scarecrow puzzle, which
Really?
is, I think, a good puzzle with bad clues. And so
So
on
I definitely want to talk about this one, but yeah, let me hear your take.
yeah, so on story mode, you basically are looking for the girl who looks like you, who looks like Hinako. And she looks the same pretty much every time. And it's like the notes are like written from your perspective kind of, or like, "Hey you," and I think that that's like a good puzzle. And I think that if you have that in your mind going into it, then the hard mode puzzle makes sense. Like retroactively it makes sense where you can always get it. But no, the
I
the
think in
scarecrow
fact,
puzzle on hard makes no sense.
I think in fact the hard mode puzzle, because I played that one first, ruined the story mode puzzle for me because
It's
I was looking
possible.
for things that are much more complicated. I had no clue, like, why would I look for her? That's not what the hard mode puzzle
Yeah.
was.
The hard
Agreed.
mode
Yeah,
puzzle
that was
I
my experience too.
is like I think that there's two things you need to do in the hard mode puzzle. So number one, it'll give you like a physical attribute or something, right? It'll be like they're smiling. And the
Right.
problem is there's multiple scarecrows that are smiling.
Exactly.
Uh,
Or
but
even worse than that, it's ambiguous who's smiling, like who's
sure.
grimacing, who's just has a like Glasgow smile. Like,
hmm I think the thing that's supposed to differentiate it is that you figure out that these notes are from Rinko, and so you're looking for someone who looks like your friend who you've seen for 2 seconds at this point in the game, right?
right,
I hope you
exactly.
memorized everybody's looks because it's gonna come back. But yeah, you're supposed to remember that, and it isn't always the same. She doesn't look always the same in hard mode. She kind of like decays over time.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
it's
So I
it's
got none
really
of that.
hard.
I missed that completely. I did hard mode, and like I said, I went back and did easy mode, and I had the same experience as you, Nathan, where like hard mode kind of broke it for me. Is it even the same people? I'm not sure. Or is it a little bit different? In any case, what I
It's
found about
Hinako in
hard
story and
mode,
it's Rinko in hard mode. I don't know about Lost in Fog.
got it. Okay. What I found interesting about this puzzle was like in hard mode, the clues are much more descriptive. It's much more about physical attributes. There's some interesting ones too, where it's like they're wearing masks and you have to see if they're smiling behind the mask or if it's the mask that's smiling. Like, I think that there was only maybe one where I was like, this is like one of the 4 or 5 that there are, where I was like, this is kind of ambiguous and could be a couple of different ones. And every other one I was able to walk around, figure it out, and one shot it, because there's also this sort of like escalating tension of this puzzle where it's like if you fail, you now have to either kill this thing or what I
Run
decided
away into
was
the fog.
run away into the fog and reset the puzzle, which doesn't totally work. Like there's sometimes still one romping around afterwards, but it usually mostly resets it.
Let's see.
No,
I
there's always
hated about
one.
this. That made it feel like, am I doing something wrong? Should I reset it? Like, did I break the puzzle? Like, like why is there this ability to reset it by walking out into the fog? It's just adding more ambiguity to the puzzle. You
Yeah,
could
I
also solve
agree.
it the way I did, which was just to pull every single one out.
Uh-huh.
And I swear to God, 3 different times I got it on the exact last one, and I was just kiting around like 20 dudes running around me.
There's options.
Yeah.
There were options. Fucking
Yeah.
hated this puzzle.
I think in general it's a mistake for this game to recommend hard as its default. Like it's hard and you need to understand the systems to be able to play it
It's
on
hard,
hard.
and story teaches you the rules
Yeah,
in some ways.
for sure.
Because so many of these like semantic puzzles you do not get any partial feedback on.
No.
Right? You only get feedback when you get it right.
I don't know. As someone who has never played a Silent Hill game, I guess I'm a gamer and I like games. I'm not an amazing puzzle gamer though, but I felt intellectually stimulated, challenged, but I didn't feel like any puzzle was like unfair. Um, or unsolvable, or like I had to go to, like, with the exception of I don't know what Kudza leaves look like or whatever. Like
That's with
everything,
the box.
yeah, with the box, everything else felt fine, and I was able to kind of sit down, stew on it, noodle, maybe brute force a little bit in certain situations. Like the light puzzle was a little bit weird for me in that regard, where you're like turning the rabbit and the fox. But yeah, overall, I felt like it was a
Man,
decent recommendation on difficulty.
the mural, the scarecrow, the mural at the end, the very last one, the scarecrow, the story panel to get out of her house. All of these, I basically brute forced, and when I got the answer, could not understand why that was the correct answer anyway. So I could just be very dumb.
The mural
But
made sense to me. There was only two for the two that were fighting, the blackbird and the whitebird. That's the one you're talking
Yeah.
about, right? There was like a guy who's like shooting arrows or something, and a guy who had like a blocking thing up. So that's
Yeah.
why they were there. And then there was a group of foxes towards the bottom that was different than all of the other ones, which were in lights.
let me say it this way. There's the guy in the litter, right, who you could easily read as the leader, right? Like the king who's being carried. There is also the fox who is
I went
actually
with
at the
him
front
first. Yeah.
who could
Me too.
also
Me
be.
too.
So that already makes it so that if you are you kind of have to start brute forcing different stuff because you already have one piece of it. Like with this kind of puzzle, you can't have ambiguity like that. Like maybe you're a lot better at it. Maybe you got lucky and found like brute forced it quickly. But there's so much ambiguity in every one of these puzzles.
I
Maybe
felt
they
like I
should
could
have thrown
rule
an
it out
enemy in
because
there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you gotta be just trying different things.
Okay, but the ones I liked, I obviously
yeah.
Yes.
Girl Code
Girl
love.
Code's so good.
Oh, we should go into Girl
The
Code. Talk us
the
through Girl
Shimizu.
Code.
Well, okay. Oh man, I can't explain it.
Okay, I'll
It's
explain it.
essentially these girls have created a code, which I was so happy to have it not be like a shift, right? Like an index shift of alphabet to numbers, because I was reading that was what was going to happen. I was like, fuck, I have to like
I was
write
worried
all,
too. You got to get a notebook out.
and then I
Like
was
a
so
Rod
pleasantly
13 kind
relieved.
of thing.
Yeah, I was so pleasantly relieved when it clicked. And so what it is right, you're going through these schools, you're reading these notes, you find little pieces of kind of clues about like what this girl code is, and it kind of starts out more ambiguous, and as you find more of the notes, it becomes more concrete, like what it actually is and how it works. And
One
effectively
of the
like
notes is
all the
literally like uh a boy gets a note and he's like, uh
what
whatever,
the
this
fuck is
girl
this
gave me,
basically.
yeah, gave me a note that says 84 asterisk 4 on it. What what
Yeah.
does that mean? And and she starts laughing.
Yeah.
Because it turns out, yeah, I mean, it's leet speak with some additional things, but it's a, simple substitution cipher. So 8 becomes B, 4 becomes A, and the asterisk becomes K. So
I
she's
like how it
calling
was
him
it like,
stupid. Baka.
yeah, it's like 4 becomes A, and one of the notes is like, I don't really get that one. They don't look alike at all, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Or the 6 becomes a U or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, one
Well,
of the, yeah.
it feels like it's. I mean, it is super rooted in. You think back to like, uh, what's the thing that girls used to
Fortune
make,
tellers.
fortune
Yeah.
tellers, like that sort of magic behind that. And like as my experience, at least growing up as a boy, was like, oh, I don't know how to fold this. I don't know how this works. Like and girls kind of like keeping that from you, as like a bit of their, their group's knowledge. Yeah, feels like rooted in that.
Even if there is an anachronism with like the leet speak thing, it does feel true. Like it does feel like a real lived in school and kind of a like little society that they had built here with their own rituals and stuff.
I kind of read it as like a localization of what their code would be, because like they would be writing something in Japanese and
In
probably have
kanji.
like some
Yeah,
other,
yeah.
yeah. So this was like, oh, to give you a sense of what this code kind of is like the simplicity of it.
Yeah, I'm curious if in the
That's what it is.
Japanese, like in the Japanese localization of it, how it works, if they use kanji or use
Yeah.
these same symbols.
But yeah, it's great because then you have to like learn that code by like getting notes, some of which have translations and some of which don't, and then go into the
Right.
locker room and use that to get all of these 3-digit combination lockers.
Right.
And
The
I
best
quite
one,
enjoyed it.
yeah, the best one from my perspective was the signal for distress, because most of
Yeah,
these
that's
like you can figure out
Optional.
like it's pretty clear in a note that you find in the world, and this one was it like I found out so and so's, I think it's Suga's locker combination. Like I don't quite get it. It sounds like a cry for help, and then he gets 505 or SOS. But they
Mhm.
don't
I
explicitly
definitely
tell you.
entered
Whereas
444 first. It's like,
I did too.
What is 444?
ah, like a
Oh,
scream.
Oh, that's not why I did 444. 444 is a incredibly unlucky number in Asian culture.
Sure.
okay.
Okay.
Like you don't want to live on the fourth floor. So 444 was when I tried die or 71E. I tried 666. I tried. That's not lead speak,
Hmm.
but gotta try the common 3-digit
Mhm.
things. I had a
Yeah.
bunch of different ones that I was like, oh, this is it. Oh, this is it. And then it finally landed on SOS.
I kind of like that was like a series of puzzles that taught you multiple things, and it kind of
Hmm.
grew upon it. And like by the time you get to the last one, you're like, oh, I'll solve this one really quick, and it like actually felt like you learned something and got better
Mm.
at it.
Sorry, you had more puzzles you were going over.
My other favorite one was the Shimizu Residence. That was like a series of barely even puzzles, right? Just like finding keys and taking them to the next space. But I
Mm.
very much like portrait puzzle, I guess.
That was good.
Um,
Yeah.
where you find one and then you have to figure out ways to rotate them. And another thing that I guess y'all probably haven't seen yet is that the combinations change across based on what ending you're on. So
Mm.
you're kind of something slightly different each time, and kind of like Xing out different people in the configuration of like who she keeps and who she discards.
Oh, that's
Interesting.
really
I like that.
interesting.
I think the story one, right, is her destroying herself. I think you turn her own portrait upside down, and
Yeah.
hers is the one that's X'd out. But in the another one, it's her parent. You kill her parents, and then another one you kill her friends.
Hmm.
Which we haven't even talked about those, like either the rituals or the sacrifices of her friends.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
it. Get into
Those
it.
are my favorite parts of the game. Those felt the most in a game that is very uh not really tied into Silent Hill, the larger kind of mythos, lore, whatever. Those felt like Silent Hill games. Like those are the kind of body horror and just like horrifying things that you see in these Silent Hill games.
Mhm.
Yeah. My experience of playing a couple of these different sequences, um, I was like sitting with headphones on because I think the 3D audio in this game is incredible.
Yeah.
For actual action moments. But I'm like sitting with my headphones on, and I think without the audio, which the audio, we'll get into more like aesthetics in a second, but the sort of like audio, particularly during the ritual sequences, but just generally across the entire game, is so unsettling. It makes you so uncomfortable. It adds such a like crazy layer to this because I was playing this with headphones on. My wife is like watching these crazy ritual sequences go on, and to like name them, you know, just so people have context, like you cut off your own arm with this like huge saw. You
Hate it.
you get branded on the back of your character with this like scolding thing, and then you literally cut off. Is it someone else does it, or anyway, your this part of your face around your eyes gets cut off, and then a fox mask welded onto you or whatever.
Like
Um,
sewed up to your face.
Mhm.
yeah,
And
sewed onto your face. And
you get a monster arm in replace.
You get a
yeah, and
giant wolf
oh,
arm.
Yeah.
sorry, I
Fox
should have mentioned that. Yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, I'm
You
playing
turn
these
into
sequences with my mouth open wide while my wife is sitting next to me, not hearing the audio of it. And I'm just like, this is my face. I'm like I was so not grossed out. I mean, it is gross, but like I was so unsettled, it's so uncomfortable. The music creates this crazy tension in these moments. They're really slow. They do the classic horror thing of kind of like tell the story without necessarily showing it all the way through, where like blood's
Yeah.
dropping on the ground or something falls down or whatever. They're so cinematically amazing from
I
a
think that
horror perspective.
adds to it, right? Like they don't actually show her face being cut off. I don't think they show like kind of the start of the incision and then cut away. And the one even I find even more horrifying is the death of her parents, which they don't actually show. They just show the ground underneath them, right? And it's like
With all the blood and guts falling down, like yeah, they
horrifying.
do show her
I can't
putting
tell
the
you.
skin of her face in the box after they cut it off.
Ugh.
Though that's
Yeah.
the
They put her arm in a box too. And on the second playthrough, I realized that you can find like a ritual room where they have arms in boxes.
Oh,
And yeah, it's the first time you see the fox mask, but you don't realize what it is at that point.
interesting. No, I closed my eyes and plugged my ears during these scenes. It was too scary.
It was fucked
But
up.
I'm glad they
it's
were
horrifying,
effective
very very
for
horrifying.
you.
And then and then the other one, which is so I think this actually happened first.
It
The
does.
sequence is where she's
Oh, where you
basically
drink the thing.
No.
sacrificing each one of her friends, each one of her three
Oh, yeah,
friends.
Mhm.
And it's like heartbreaking when she leaves what's her name?
Sakuko.
You're like reading these things about how Sakuko is like afraid of the dark and all she like her biggest fear is like her friends leaving her, and then
Mhm.
that's the first thing you do. You leave her in a cage and put
And she's screaming at you as the door goes down, and like
and you just leave her and you're like, why the fuck is Hinako doing this? There's like she's a monster. What is happening?
Yeah,
And
she's
then she goes,
completely like blank faced. Also,
yeah.
it's
mhm.
very creepy.
On to kill Shu, and like Shu's not even begging. He's like, well, I trust you, partner, and she just like lets him hang and
Ugh.
she kills Rinko. It's
Rinko had it coming, but
Yeah, Rinko.
Rinko's my
but I
favorite
love
character. I
Rinko.
love-
Let's be clear.
I love Rinko, and I hate Shu.
You hate
Yeah, she was
Shu.
awful.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Agreed.
Okay.
I hate
thought
When
that
you
he
go
was the
back
only
and
halfway okay one.
reread,
Actually, I like Sakuko too. Sakuko's all right.
I like Sakuko. I love Rinko as a villain.
Mhm.
But Shu I find kind of boring and like performatively like supporting her while not actually having the courage to like stand up for her or be honest with her or anything.
I can
but
see
okay,
that.
wait, I've got to take on Shu. I've got to take on Shu.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as performative or genuine or anything like that. I like, does he really not know what this like medicine does? And I think we've gone long enough. We got to get into this first ending. Like,
Sure.
so basically, red pills are are a small healing item. There's a couple of healing items that you can't like trade in for points, so they're in your inventory. Red pills are the first inventory item you get. You get them alongside a note that's like, and I think you mentioned this at the top, Nolan. Shu's like the son of the medicine person and the doctor in town or whatever. And so he's like trying to prescribe Hinako these like red pills to deal with whether it's her bipolar disorder or some other sort of like it seems like
Stress
he's
headaches.
It was
stress headaches.
Yeah.
But like it's almost like super it's malpractice is what it is, right? Like he doesn't know what he's doing. The ultimate moment of the ending on your first playthrough is like you're running through this area and there's pills everywhere, there's giant pills, and there's this sort of implication I think of an overdose, as it relates to all these different things. Like that's kind of my read of it, as it relates back to the purgatory point that you were making earlier, Nolan. And the way that you get a different ending in subsequent playthroughs is by not taking red pills, among other things. So I almost read it as like this is like, I mean, malpractice is the best way I can think to put it. Like it's not malicious, but it is really ignorant.
I
The
mean, it's like
situation that he's put something in.
she was drugging her the whole time without telling
Yeah,
her what he's giving her.
yeah,
Like, even if he's
I
trying to help,
yes,
it's
I
doing
guess
it in a fucked up way.
that's true. She's also taking a lot of them, right?
yes, sure.
So it
Oh, so it's her fault.
it's not.
Okay.
I mean, even Junko's like, "Hey, how many of those have you taken? You should probably stop." And she's like, "Ah." Like it's
Yeah.
she's out of control as well. Um, and yeah, I think that it is right. This is that tension again between he is prescribing a traditional medicine, right, from the area that, and you can read some notes about it that like if you have it a lot, then it gives you hallucinations. Um, and yeah, I agree that right, like he is a child and probably has no business prescribing anything. Uh, so that's bad. But also, it's you know she doesn't know what to do, and so it's this weird like combination
She doesn't
of
know what
him
to do
trying
in
to
the
help.
sense of,
Yeah, she doesn't know what to do with
yeah.
because she's having all these headaches, right? And
Mhm.
so she turns to him, and he tries to help. So I don't know if it's like, sure, that's probably malpractice, but this is a small town, right? Like this is
There's there. I also see a
there's not
position
other
where he is.
options. There's a
Well,
new
but there
doctor in
are other
town
options, and
who
you
maybe can
mentioned this in
prescribe
the
aspirin,
narrative
but
with that. Yeah. There's a house by the field. I noticed this on my second playthrough. So there's a house by the fields that you go into, which I think is the new doctor's house.
Mhm.
You have to kind of, it's like right after you get the sort of jump scare from the person as you're running alongside the field. If you go behind that house, there's a ladder you can go into, and there's a
hmm
couple of different like locked doors in that. It's the same house I referenced where there was like a dead monster on the ground that disappears when
Actually,
you unlock
I
something.
didn't get into it on the first playthrough because it's where you're supposed to meet with Shu and Rinko, and it's just like
Uh,
locked.
so it
Oh,
is
I
locked.
think.
see.
Okay. What's interesting about this house is there's a bunch of different notes about, and I think to your point, Nolan, I think it is the different like traditional, or not traditional medicine, but like modern medicine doctor, and there are no red pills anywhere in this house.
hmm
Was my experience. So that was my read, going through it, knowing what on the second playthrough of like, oh, it is known that these things are bad. And this is kind of the narrative supporting
Well, he also in his
And
notes
but
says
are
things
they
like people
bad?
are basically turning into monsters. Yeah, people are like turning into monsters because of them,
that. Mhm.
for sure. Like
Uh,
I don't know if it's just in the second playthrough, but you certainly find you find basically the story of the character who has the like top of their head missing and like the tendrils coming out of it, and it's basically like, yeah, those pills turned him into that.
oh, I don't know
Mm.
if I saw that. I saw a bunch of stories about people who were like cursed and had like bugs inside them, but um
I tie
I don't
that
think I saw
basically
anything about the red
to the
pills.
pills. I tied that all to and it could be in my head, but my read is that that is all because of the pills and the associated.
It
Um,
could be, for
stuff.
sure.
There's definitely a lot of
I
stuff
don't think
that.
it's Shu's fault though. I think it's the parents' fault is what I'm trying to
Oh
get
well,
at.
so I think there's also a read that Shu is actively trying to sabotage her wedding.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Cuz at the very end it says like someone with a wedding dress is like killing people, which I'm assuming.
right.
And like the like as you the like final stage of your like ritual monster transformation is you like turn into uh someone in like a dress, basically. And I'm wondering if that's like a
Like
traditional.
a bridal gown or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
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 Well, I don't know if it is. It's not like a Western bridal gown, but it has like a veil kind of thing. So I'm assuming that that is, yeah, that is Hinako getting married to Fox Mask, and it is
That was
that's really
my read.
interesting. Yeah, if Shu is intentionally dosing her, but
I mean, I
that
think
would be extra information that I didn't draw. So
Yeah, I think it's at worst ignorant, or at best ignorant, and at worst malicious. Was my
I think
read.
like most things in this game, it can be multiple things, right? He
mhm,
probably is legitimately trying to help her. There's also probably a part of him that wants to sabotage her, and there's also a part of him
Hmm.
that's just like, oh, this is the traditional medicine. Like I think that's kind of what the whole game is about in some ways. Is like,
mhm,
yes, this is really happening, and yes, also this is a metaphor for her wedding day, and yes, she is also like having a drug trip and going through all these memories and like time dilation and stuff.
Hmm.
yeah,
That's my read.
I like that. Yeah. Should we? Is it time to talk about the monsters?
Yeah.
Okay,
Monster
okay.
Smasher Pass.
Yes, open up your document that I sent you. We're gonna go through the monsters and say smash or pass because I think the designs are really good and we should talk about them.
They
I
are.
hope this
They are pretty good.
includes the bosses. Does it?
Yeah, we're just on the regular monsters. So the first one you
Okay.
should be looking at is Kashimashi.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so Kashimashi, like a weird skin mannequin thing lady with a knife, contorts in weird directions. Apparently, the name is like the sound of like women being loud.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I
Uh,
like.
When three women gather, it means noisy.
Yeah. All right, what do you think, Smash or Pass?
what
Smash.
about like the reverse Barbie butt
Oh
when
yeah,
it bends? Yeah, smash. Yeah.
I'm going pass on this one.
Oh man.
Okay. Aya Kakashi is the next one, the Scarecrow friend. Um, yeah, this one's dressed up like a schoolgirl, contorts in weird ways. The name I also think is fun. It's a portmanteau. Um, Ayakashi is like a type of yokai. It's like a spirit, kind of like a will-o-wisp that like appears in the
Mhm.
fog and lures people to their death. And then Kakashi means scarecrow. So Ayakashi plus Kakashi is Ayakakashi. So what do you think? Smash or pass?
This is a pass for me, because horrifying. Just in general, like these were the scariest enemies for me,
They were so
partially because of
scary.
design, and like the
Interest.
situational.
Smash for sure. Yeah, I love this design. It reminds me a lot of Evil Within 2 monster design,
Hmm.
especially like the pose kind of mannequin looks. Um, which I love. I like their weird little stilt, like stabby stilt legs that are disgusting. They're great.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna pass. Don't like the uniform.
Fair.
All right, Ara Abare, which is basically like, oh
Ooh.
dear, a rampaging monster.
Wait,
Is
these
what it
names are
translates to. I know
These are
it
great.
it
Yeah.
doesn't say them in game, I don't think. So I
right.
learned
No.
these afterwards. But yeah, he's a big boy with one arm that's a big tongue that can just like wrap you up, and one arm that's a knife, and then also a big mouth and a big butt.
His whole torso is a mouth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like I know where Nolan's going on this one, so you can kick it off.
I can start. Yeah, that's a smash.
Yeah, that's a pass for me.
I'll say smash. I'm interested in what the tongue can do.
What that tongue do though?
All right.
All right, Irohihi. So a hihi is like a kind of monkey, but also means pervert. It's like a nickname for old men. And then Irohihi basically just means he looks like a pervert. And he's got like
Yeah.
he's like a little monkey guy with like a tentacle tongue that like licks you all the way up.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's bad. He's passing.
I passed, but I like fighting this one. It was one of my favorite ones to kind of, I don't know, play
Okay.
chicken with. I these are the ones that I felt when I heard one of them come in, I actually got scared.
These are scary. Pass for me too. Dirty old man doesn't exactly do it for me.
That's a smash for me. There's all sorts of
Yeah.
weird tentacle-y things.
Yeah.
How fun.
Sure.
All right, and then the wait, where's the next one that I wanted to look at? Oh yes, down here in the Dark Shrine enemies. Oh no, wait. Is that right? Hang on. I messed this up.
Who are we looking
I
at?
have Corruptor
Yeah.
as the next one.
Okay, yeah, we can do Corruptor next. So this one looks like it's got a bunch of it's like a body, but then there's a bunch of like faces welded to it using flesh. And it vomits everywhere.
Pass on the basis of the vomit. Also, the yelling, I don't really want to know how that thing moans in pleasure.
I'm also gonna pass.
Yeah, pass.
All right, Hatcher is next, which is a weird big bulbous lady. It's like two people maybe like leaning back to back,
Yeah.
and then there's a bunch of like weird like breast wombs that extrude things. Yeah.
The wonder. This is one of my favorite descriptions. The wonders of birth do not apply to this.
Yes.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. All right, smash or pass.
Yeah, that was a pass. That has to be a pass.
I think I agree. I mean, I could see where like, you could make the argument, but it has a lot of breasts. But it's like there's an old saying that I'll kind of rework here, which is like having a lot of breasts is like being a fast car because you're like parked on a train that's driving. I don't know. Maybe I'm butchering it, but it's I don't know. I would get lost in there.
Yeah, I'll smash. I don't know. I feel like I want to get lost in there. All right.
Fair enough.
Kamugara is next.
Yeah.
Which is like a person with manacles and whose face is completely rotted off. Also
Yes.
a collar with a lock on it.
Yeah.
Kinky.
Yeah, I like his hardware.
Yeah. So that's a smash for.
Is that clean sweep?
Yeah.
I'm in. This guy scared the crap out of me though. This
I'm in.
was yeah. I mean they all did, right? But like, yeah, this one's interesting. Good bod. Clearly kinky. I'm into it.
Mm-hmm. Apparently this is in the journal too, but they like don't see and they can only hear, but I never figured out a way to actually like capitalize
You could
on
sneak
that.
up. You could sneak up on them, but when they were already in battle, it was I don't think they like lost track of you. But if you saw one that
okay.
was just kind of sitting sniffing, you could walk up behind him and get him.
I guess I was expecting it to be more like the blind monsters in Resident Evil 4. the like Wolverine
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
But
No, it's not.
here's Hirai Katashiro, which is like
I
a
don't know.
mannequin with blades for legs, and like a doll face and some Frankensteining going on and a knife. Chris?
Smash. But also, this exercise is telling me that I didn't realize that these were all like distinct enemies.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
I'm
know.
realizing there are more enemies in this game that like I thought it was just maybe the AI is the same or similar, or derived, but like this is telling
Yeah.
me that I did not understand the difference between enemies.
yeah, this has like the same rig as the Kashimashi. Like,
It's like
Yeah,
yeah, and like
exactly.
the legs of the Ayakashi. It's like a
yeah,
mashup of them. Smash.
yeah, Smash. I like those blade legs. And yeah, I think that there's also like versions for both the real world and the like other
Right.
world
Directly.
stuff.
Hmm.
All right, Oi Omoi, which is like
No,
just a
no,
huge
no.
mass of dolls.
Pass, pass,
It's
pass.
a
Pass.
skeleton
Yeah,
centipede back. Ugh,
yeah, it does.
it's bad.
It sure does.
It's great.
Yeah, no, that's a pass. And then Dark Hatcher is just another
Boob monster.
yeah, Hatcher.
Yeah, same logic. You know, I can
Yeah,
see why you might want to entertain this idea, but I think it's still a pass for me.
give it a go.
Yes.
All right, Drum Monster is the last one.
When do
And
you
this is like
fight this dude?
you fight this
Oh
in
yeah,
the
I
other
know where it
world,
is.
like in the
This is
ritual
the dad.
area.
This is the
No, this
dad.
is not the dad. The dad is just
No,
an
Oh,
Ara Abare, but
it's like you
oh,
already
okay.
have the wolf arm, and what are you doing at that point?
you're like the first time
Just
you fight him,
ripping
you're
through
like
things with.
second floor of that ritual area that you like return to 3 times.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, to
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
after you get the like you can see through certain walls vision.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice
He's got
effect on
a
that wall, but
yeah. He's a big boy. He's got a
yeah,
drum and some like spiky noisemakers.
it looks a little too friendly. Like he belongs in like Ori or Rayman or something.
For sure.
It's a little out of place. I agree. I think it's
Yeah,
a pass for me.
I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, I'll pass.
There's no tongue.
Yeah, not like the other one.
Yeah. No, but the
The other
dad
big boy.
monster is definitely yeah. The dad monster is the big boy with the clear cirrhosis of liver
Did you
because
did you
he's an
did y'all
alcoholic.
kill the dad first or the mom first?
The dad.
Yeah. I
I killed the
honestly
mom first.
I don't think I would
Oh.
have even realized that it was the dad during the fight, but it popped an achievement if you killed the dad first.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
I killed the mom first because I assumed it would be easier to
Right.
kill her and then have only, which is why I assume an achievement pops if you do it the other way.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for doing Monster Smasher Pass with me.
You're welcome.
Uh,
Thank you for
yeah.
setting it up. Let's do it again.
Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on? We've delved pretty deep into this game.
I want to say something pretty quickly about we had another section for endings here. I know we've talked about it through and through. I did New Game Plus. I haven't gotten to the point where I feel the content dramatically differs. The cutscenes are different, is my understanding. Although they don't feel super different, there is some nuance in how if you hold
Yeah.
the skip, it'll tell you if it's a new cutscene or not, which is a nice touch.
Really
Hmm.
But I don't always realize, like sometimes watch through hold to skip new cutscene, and I will watch through it, and I'm like, I think that's a cutscene I already saw. But horror is rooted in like little variation,
Some of it
psychological
can be
horror, and that kind
small
of stuff.
variations. Some of it can be quite big, but it's
Yeah, I'm sure.
mostly small stuff, honestly.
Cool. I don't feel like I'm getting a ton out of my second playthrough just yet. And again, I know that there's some different puzzles in the late game, and it's about getting different endings, and it's not a super long game. Like I think you and my first playthroughs are about 10 hours. Not a super long game, and pretty easy to retrace and know what's skippable and know where the hidden stuff is. One comment I want to make about New Game Plus is we touched on how you don't take the pills in your next playthrough. I took the pills because as a curious person, I want to know what happens if you disregard the advice of the game. And it turns out nothing happens. Not only does nothing happen, you don't get an achievement. There's also no indication that you've fucked it up. Like I took it, or I saved, I took it, nothing happened. I went back to a save file, but I looked all over before doing that to see if because like on the save file, it kind of shows you what path you're on. Like there's a thread and like a pill on it on the like entry in the save documentation. And I thought maybe it would like at least cross that out or something
That
to
means
indicate that like,
that means the ending that you have on that save file, you like it adds more to them. So the pill means that you've got the pill ending.
oh, I see. It doesn't mean that you're like on track for some
Yeah,
different ending because it's
there's
not.
yeah, that's what I thought first too, but it's
Yeah, because there's no indication. Well, it's abundantly clear how you get the different ending. Like after you complete it in the main menu, it's like to get another ending. Like don't take pills and do this thing with a sword,
right.
which I haven't gotten to yet. So but anyway, and then the other end is like don't take pills and don't do this thing with a sword. And so it's like it's not like that there's any ambiguity about how you're supposed to accomplish these things, but it's interesting to me that they have not either like it's not an achievement to go fuck it up again, or there's no like because like if I messed up my reload and my save file, right, like I'm the kind of person who's limited time. I'm not gonna play 8 more hours of this in doubt if I've done this or not, or if I like reverted the correct way or whatever. So I just thought it was interesting that the the resolution is just you'll get the pills ending and not like, oh, you're an interesting, thoughtful player. Here's an achievement at least, or something like that.
I do like that it tells you in game how to get the next endings.
Yeah, yeah. That's all
That's
you're gonna
really
do
nice.
anyway. Like why?
Yeah.
I just in defense or argument for playing a second playthrough, it does kind of go ahead and give you all of the power ups as soon as you get to that part. So not only do you not have to retrace all the steps to get through each ritual, but you start with your wolf arm right away. So the second
Oh,
playthrough can be much fun.
that's cool.
I mean, it's already easier. There are areas where and I'm playing on different puzzle difficulty, but there are areas where like I know the answer to this puzzle, so I'm just gonna mainline
Right.
it. Or like I know that these enemies aren't blocking me from getting to a next area. I'm just gonna walk past them. Like it's certainly fast. It doesn't feel super satisfying to me as someone so far. I know it'll get different. I want to know what happens in the other endings. I'll probably revisit this, in the next week or two and wrap at least one up. But I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I don't know how much value I'm getting out of the replay, even though I want to know more about the story.
I'll play more of it probably in the mornings. All right, anything else?
Exclusively. Yeah.
Sweet. Thus concludes our thoughts for now on Silent Hill Elf. Thank you, everyone who listened. I want to remind you who we are. We are Up at Night, a game studio in New York City, and we're working on a bunch of fun games. You can check out our existing games at upatnight.games. And if you would like to hear more from us, both about our game development and about games we enjoy, you can do so at patreon.com/upatnightgames. Just join as a free member, and you will be on our mailing list. I'm assuming all of us say you should play Silent Hill, F.
Yeah,
We're all
it was a good
thumbs
play.
up.
Short enough to be enjoyable. Really visceral, really fun, really scary. Not without its problems, but a good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sweet. Cool. Thanks, everybody. Reach out to us on Patreon or on our Blue Sky. Talk to you soon. Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.